Greenwood Civil Hospital stood, a little away from the city of functioning hospital, but very old. It had been built before the country's independence. Its yellow walls were cracked, the edges of the roof broken and worn. Behind the hospital stood the morgue, an isolated room that people only entered when absolutely necessary. It had 4 windows, 3 normal ones and a 4th that was always kept shut. Dr. Rachel had just been posted to this hospital. She was about 32 years old, recently appointed as a forensic specialist after completing her medical college. Confident and determined, yet secretly nervous, it was her first assignment inside a morgue. Until now, she had only studied about dead bodies in books, never faced a real corpse. Her first meeting was with Ray, the morgue assistant who had worked there for 30 years. He wore a white coat, his back slightly bent, his face always carrying a stern, warning expression. Though physically weak, his eyes were deep with experience. Inside the morgue, everything happened according to Ray's rules. Another staff member was Adama, a young and carefree boy. He was quick with his work, but often broke rules, making him quite popular among the nurses. He was cheerful but sometimes overly enthusiastic. The hospital was run by Dean Gregory, a strict administrator in his 60s. Despite his tough exterior, he was sensitive inside and deeply believed that some things exist beyond logic. Night duties were handled by senior nurse Karen Ellett, sharp and observant of every detail. Yet even she disliked staying near the morgue for too long. She had witnessed strange incidents but never spoke openly about them. When Dr. Rachel was assigned duty in the morgue, she thought of it as just another government job. Examine bodies during the day, write reports, and return home in the evening. But the day she entered the morgue for the first time, Ray stopped her and said, "Ma'am, you may open the other 3 windows, but never touch the 4th one." "Why? Is there a ghost there?" Rachel joked. Ray replied quietly, "People laugh when they come here, but one day, they silently disappear." Rachel dismissed it lightly, but this was only the beginning of a terrifying story that was about to become a part of her life. 6 years ago, another doctor had worked in his hospital, Dr. Johnson. He was skilled and logical, with no belief in superstition. One night during duty, he opened the 4th window to smoke a cigarette. Nurse Karen, who was passing by, witnessed what happened. The moment the window opened, a strange smoky mist drifted inside. Dr. Johnson stood frozen, his face filled with unimaginable terror as if he was seeing something invisible. Karen left briefly, and when she returned, Dr. Johnson was still staring at the window, his eyes wide, his face drenched in sweat. After that night, Dr. Johnson changed completely. He never spoke of what he saw and quietly requested a transfer. But before it was approved, just 2 weeks later, his dead body was found below the 4th window. In the hospital courtyard, his eyes were open, no wounds on his body, but his face carried the same horrific fear Karen had seen that night. After this incident, Karen finally told Dean Gregory the truth. The hospital administration then ordered that the 4th window of the morgue remain permanently closed. Rachel continued her routine, duties examining bodies, writing reports, and returning home. For her, the 4th window was just a sealed corner, no questions, no curiosity. But one day, due to space shortage, she unknowingly placed a table with a fresh corpse right in front of the 4th window. She had no idea that this small mistake would open the door to a terrifying night. That night was a new moon. Rachel was alone on duty inside the morgue when suddenly the lights began to flicker. The generator was running, yet the lights trembled strangely. Ray, who was sitting near the door, entered quietly and said, "Ma'am, tonight is a new moon night, and you placed a table in front of the 4th window." For the first time, Rachel felt a chill of fear. Around 2 a.m., in the deep silence of the morgue, a strange scratching sound echoed like fingers dragging across the iron bars of a window. Slowly, Rachel turned and saw the iron bars of the 4th window bending as if someone outside was pulling them. "Who's there?" she called out, but beyond the window there was nothing, only a dense fog and a faint yellow glow. Like the flicker of a candle, a cold gust of wind suddenly rushed in, causing the sheet covering the corpse to flutter wildly. Rachel stood frozen, sweat dripping, her eyes locked on the window until morning. The next day, restless with questions, Rachel called Ray aside. "You warned me about the fourth window. Last night something strange happened. Do you really know the truth?" Ray looked grave. "Ma'am, anyone who takes this window lightly, it punishes them. Remember Dr. Johnson? People say he disappeared. He didn't disappear, he was taken. I saw it. He opened the window to smoke. 2 weeks later, he was dead." Rachel still wasn't fully convinced, but she needed answers. She went straight to Dean Gregory. "Sir, please tell me the real story of the fourth window. Did something truly happen there?" The dean sighed heavily. "You asked at the right time, Dr. Rachel. But what you are about to hear is not easy." He looked out of his own office window, lost in memory. "That window. 8 years ago a case came here. A young girl named Natalie raped and murdered. When her body arrived, her face was so badly disfigured that her family couldn't recognize her. They left without performing the final rites. Her body was kept on the table. Beneath that very window the next day, the doctor on night duty disappeared. Only her blood-stained slippers and a belt were found under the window. Her body was never discovered. I kept this secret, but 6 years later, Nurse Karen told me about Dr. Johnson's incident. That's when I ordered the fourth window to remain locked forever." Rachel was shaken. She now knew this was no ordinary window. It was a passage of pain. Adam, unaware of the full story, made the same fatal mistake. One night, while cleaning the room, he noticed heavy dust near the fourth window. After finishing the rest of the morgue, he decided to clean there too. He unlocked the latch and began sweeping. The moment his broom touched the iron bars, a surge of energy jolted through his body. "Karen, there's a cold breath here. Is someone there?" he called, but before help arrived. At 2:45 a.m., a blood-curdling scream shattered the silence. Nurse Karen rushed in and found Adam lying on the floor, eyes wide open, mouth frozen mid-scream, his face pale and twisted in terror. When she looked toward the window, she saw a figure in a red dress standing there. The face was hidden in the mist. Then, in the blink of an eye, it vanished. Rachel realized Adam had repeated Dr. Johnson's mistake. Though a doctor, Rachel also believed in spiritual remedies. She felt Natalie's restless soul and vowed to uncover the mystery completely. She convinced Dean Gregory to allow a ritual on the next new moon night. An experienced spiritualist, Father Matthew, was called. He prepared the ritual inside the morgue, drawing red lines, sprinkling sacred ash, and chanting prayers. Rachel, risking her own life, set up a camera in front of the fourth window and joined the ritual. Father Matthew said, "The soul that longs for justice will appear tonight. Do not fear. It is your duty to reveal the truth." At 3 a.m., the chains on the window began to rattle. A cold wind filled the morgue. The camera screen suddenly went blank. Then Rachel heard a whisper, "Give me justice." A shadow slowly emerged. It was the girl, burned skin, half-open lips, a blood-stained dress. "I waited every night. No one knew my truth. No one lit my funeral pyre. I remain incomplete." Tears filled Rachel's eyes. "I will," she promised. "I will arrange your last rites. I will bring you peace." Father Matthew threw sacred ash toward the window. A piercing scream erupted, as if the soul was releasing years of pain. The room's temperature returned to normal, but the air still felt heavy. The sorrow had not completely left. Father Matthew turned to Rachel. "It is time to give her final liberation. Until her cremation is performed, her suffering will not end." The next day, Rachel reopened Natalie's old case. Through DNA tests and hospital records, she finally located Natalie's family. When they learned the truth, tears filled their eyes. They had long lost hope that their daughter's soul would ever find peace. Father Matthew gave them the sacred ash, saying, "These are her remains. Perform the last rites and free her soul." A week later, Natalie's cremation was carried out with full religious rituals on the riverbank. That night, the fourth window of the morgue closed on its own. For the first time, no scratching sounds came. No shadow appeared. The air was peaceful. If someone had finally embraced a soul that had been crying for years. The hospital administration later sealed the window with a heavy lock and hung a picture of a guardian angel upon it. Even today, people say some spirits continued to wander until they received justice, and the fourth window was not just an opening in the wall. It was the cry of a soul demanding peace. If you liked this story, subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. If you have a similar story, share it in the comments. Maybe the next animated story will be yours.